Any capital expenditure in schools is very welcome, and I welcome it. But my question is with regard to the existing schools and the difficulties that they're increasingly facing in funding them. I hope that there will be an announcement and there'll be some detail. There's no mention of it in the budget, but that there might be some increase in the capitation fee. Because I know from schools across Clare that they're finding it's obviously more expensive now to run a school than it ever was. Insurance costs are up. I'm aware of one school in Clare that applied for an insurance refund for all the time the school was closed during COVID. And I think they were offered €50. While I'm keenly aware that every national school is not owned by the state, in fact very, very few, if any, are. The vast majority of them are owned by religious communities across the country. They are all run by the state, and of course they all have to be insured. So why is every single national school in Ireland paying out for insurance? I mean, surely the Department of Education, which is funding each and every one of them, could come together and form a self-insurance scheme. I mean, they're certainly big enough to achieve that. Energy costs have risen dramatically, and parents have less disposable income, so schools are finding it harder to make ends meet, and I don't see anything to do with capitation fees. The other thing I wish to raise is disability. Again, 64 million for disability, but no mention of the disabled driver scheme criteria, which have been promised, which were a nasty little detail brought in to the first budget passed by this government, to change the criteria. So there are, I think it's 1,200 people who cannot appeal a decision against them at the moment, and no movement in that despite repeated promises by this government throughout this term. Is the best that farmers can hope for now is to be forgotten? Because that's essentially what's happened in this budget. Yes, the residential zoned land tax is not going to be implemented this year so that they can engage with their local authority. But the difficulty is the engagement process is flawed. Farmers across the length and breadth of this state have applied to have land dezoned. And local authorities have said, no, we're going to continue to zone your land. So what more can they do? They have engaged. So there is no change, unless there's going to be a change to the procedure of engagement or a change in the Finance Act. The Minister is nodding. I look forward to seeing the Finance Act. I hope there will be more than just putting it back a year and kicking the can down the road a year. There will actually be legislative changes. With regard to designated areas, again, your government continues to promise that there'll be a scheme to replace the Hen Harrier scheme, the Burn Life scheme. No mention of it today. Yet farmers are told that they should have confidence in how the nature restoration law will be applied and that they will be compensated. But there's no compensation whatsoever available to them for the designation of their lands. I wish to mention the three-card trick with regard to the funding of childcare. In September next year, it'll be 25% less, but there'll be less childcare providers by then because they're going out of business because they simply cannot provide a service for the amount of money they're receiving given rising costs.